Just believe me, never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to work and what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower, scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder, and f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought.
I can tell you that 7 years after Freddie Gray, that was 2015, spring, April, May. This is 2022. Communities like Sandtown, all we saw then and now in terms of investment was a renovated Western District Police Station and a new funeral home. That's what West Baltimore got. A new police station and a new funeral home. What kind of optics are they? Was Freddie Gray any different than 1968 Baltimore riots? Dr. King's passing, killing, murder? This is the same?
No, it wasn't. I mean, I think, well, first of all, people who are being violent and burning, that's, you know, all that's the same. But the point is what was the cause and what were they attempting to register?
I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns.
I love you.
They deserve an ounce. It's got next. And I'll be quiet. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown.
All right. It's the 4 o'clock news, the 4 o'clock report, the BlackUSA.News Report. My name is Donnie Glover, and I'm being well, first of all, thank you to the good Lord that we're even here, but also to Mr. Rashid Aziz. Mr. Rashid, I don't know how you're going to do this, but you got to come and say agree. Come on, man. This is your house. Mr. Harold told me don't go in nobody's house and don't give them their props. So you got to tell them where we at, Mr. Rashid.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rashid Aziz. We're at the Image Center. Entrepreneurs making and growing enterprises. We're here in West North Avenue, 2132 West North Ave, the home of Made in Beaumont Clothing and Frozen Desert Sorbet. You have a buffet, $14.99, Tuesday through Sunday. Come out, $14.99, all you can eat pizza, pasta, salad, and chicken right here at the Image Center. Thanks again, Donnie. We're glad to be hosting the B1 News.
Glad to be here. So BlackUSA.News, Quandra, why don't you tell us what we're doing here?
That's a good question.
Man, the day would happen to be Monday, man. That buffet sounds so good.
I know, I was saying.
Wow. That it sounds good, man.
So today, we're here to launch, to kick off our new home.
We on TV, man. Don't you see all of us in the same place at the same time? And we had Donnie's guests in the background. It was telling us about edibles in our yard, dandelions and figs, and you know how to keep diseases down, you know, with dirt. And it was absolutely amazing. And we all on the same screen, Donnie. Isn't that amazing, man? We on TV.
The no-kill zone, the no-shoot zone activist was shot to death. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard about that. By a policeman too, right?
Yes. We have to be mindful of mental illness and the violence that is around us. And when people need help, I mean, that man was clearly reaching out. Apparently, he never got the mental health that he needs. the mayor is being criticized. I want to support the mayor. I mean, these people are critical of his outreach efforts to the squeegee kids. Can you please him? Can you please everybody?
No.
There's no way.
But I'm pleased, man. I'm pleased that we're here, man. I'd rather talk about this format, man, and where it's
Okay.
gonna go, because we can always have that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? This is absolutely amazing that we, and COVID notwithstanding, here we are, raising the profile of BlackUSA.News in conjunction with Be More News and the Prince Georgian and all of the avenues of communication and media that we have. And Mr. Rashid was kind enough to open up. And I'm telling you, on North Avenue, 2132 North Avenue, this is an amazing building, amazing building. You tell any building, like I tell people, you go into a hotel, you go into a building, you go into someone's home, how do you judge cleanliness? Go into the bathrooms, man. And this place is absolutely amazing. So to what he mentioned, Tuesday through Saturday, the buffet and ice cream, just like we're starting out fresh and renewed, this is the place, 2132 North Avenue. Here we are on a TV show, Donnie. Me and you next to each other. I've never been this close to you, Donnie. I can rub your head, man. I always wanted to do this on TV with Donnie, and here I am. Unbelievable.
Mr.
It's a
Harrell.
little breezy.
I'm sitting here and I am amazed. I drove down North Avenue, and I haven't driven down North Avenue in quite a while. And I literally grew up right up the street, just the other side of Coppin on Bradish Avenue. And I drive down here now, and I am amazed. I am tickled. I mean, I can't express to you how I feel about this, because the last time I drove through here, it was like, did they have World War III here?
That's real, man. That's real.
Yeah.
It makes you want to ensure that we continue to own this process here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that this is not part of any gentrification movement. When you come and you see the streets paved, I parked somewhere that was smooth, no holes, no trash, and pulled up next to a beautiful building on North Avenue, not far from where Freddie Gray riots took place. So the neighborhood's transitioning, and we have to ensure that we plan our stake here, as we have done with Be More News and BlackUSA.News by being here today on TV. 6 of us, right? Is it 6 of us? 5 of us, right? Well, Mr. Rashid counts as 6, right? Talking to you in a manner that you all haven't seen from BlackUSA.News ever. This is phenomenal, Don.
So, Mr. Harrell, you are an expert in TV. I mean, when you were doing television at the White House for NBC, did you ever picture the same capabilities 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks from where you grew up, right here on North Avenue?
No, Dottie, I didn't have that type of perception. When I grew up in this neighborhood, it was the white folks control. Let's get real. White folks controlled TV. And to a large degree, they still do now. However, what has happened is that with the advent of the internet and the technology that now exists, we can now start to begin to control our own news and information. I'm surprised. Someone mentioned when I came in, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, about someone getting killed. The I don't want to call him the inventor.
The activist?
Yeah, the activist.
Yes.
That ran. Thank you. That ran the
no shoot zone.
Yeah, the no shoot zone, and he was killed. I didn't know anything about that.
Right on Fulton Avenue.
Yeah.
3 blocks away.
Yeah, and I didn't know anything about it. I look at what's happening inside of this building, and I said, wow. And I was telling Donnie, it seems to me that Black women have more of an entrepreneurial thing going, as opposed to black men. Black men want to sit back and do nothing, you know, and then complain. Sure, man.
Do you think that that's by design?
I don't think it's by design. I think it's what we've allowed people to drive us to. Remember that people can only do to us what we allow them to do.
Let me ask you a question.
Hey, so let that voice in the back be known, man, because you are a entrepreneur yourself, contrary to what was said here, right? And if you ask Omar Mohammed up in Morgan's enterprise or entrepreneurial program, I think that he would dispute what Mr. Harold, I respect him, was saying, because I'm ready to jump in and say to him that, you know, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because I'm an entrepreneur. You an entrepreneur? Are you an entrepreneur? So are you entrepreneur? So we just outnumbered her 3-1, man. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about, and this is a rare case that you got 3 men here sitting here who are entrepreneurs or former entrepreneurs.
Well, you know, to your point, Mr. Harold, to your point, this platform of media disallows points that you just made that are not true. So now we can tell our own story. I was with hundreds of black men on Saturday at a Black Men Unifying Black Men breakfast down at the downtown Cultural Arts Center, owned by a black man, next door to Couples Tea House, owned by a black man and a black woman. And there were many black men entrepreneurs as well as women in the building. But see, if we aren't able on this platform to tell our story and tell the truth, and we hear the truth from other platforms of media, we will never know whether what you're saying is true or not. But I could test what you said. I disagree wholeheartedly.
Now, let me make a point here. Mainstream media, your WJZs, your BALs, your MARs, did they show it? Did they publicize that it was going to happen?
No, they didn't. And just like they may not publicize mainstream, as you said, if all we are able to, and that's why it's important that media outlets like BlackUSA.News, tied to Be More News, tied to Push Georgian, and the other platforms of black media are able to credibly tell our story so that you get the fullness of what's really happening in our communities. Because we'll be led to believe that there is nothing, all black men are locked up, all black children are bad, and to the point of Saturday and seeing these black children talk about all A's. You know what I'm saying? And that it isn't a matter that all our kids are in a pipeline to jail, because that's not true. You know, I listened to this man this morning.
It's set up.
It's set up that way, but it doesn't mean that that's the only stories out here happening. You were a case in point of that this morning when you walk through the communities pointing out how we can have food on our table without paying the extravagant prices and being subject to diseases of the foods that are processed. Didn't you explain that this morning?
Yeah, but at the same time, I would like people also know my background. I'm also a career criminal. I learned how to tattoo in prison. I came home and became a tattoo artist. You know, like all this, I didn't have this mind. The mindset wasn't always there. So you feel me? The trauma, you know, that's done is pretty much done. It's going to take for people to really get away and really separate themselves to see the whole picture in order to see what's going on. It's like having your hand, you know, close to your face. You can't see the whole thing. But as soon as you step back, you can view your whole hand.
Wow, that's powerful. You know why that's powerful to me, man? Because in spite of what you just said about you, which right now to me is irrelevant in terms of where you come from, right? Is that you're a human being. You know, on Saturday, we introduced a brother that just got out of jail, 37 years, Trey Jones, right? Did 37 years, exonerated in July, got a degree from Coppin up the street, and out here working to serve other black people, just like you were doing this morning and trying to educate us. So what relevance other than to you, and maybe as a power of example to others that may be out here calling themselves, because you're not a career criminal to me, because it don't sound like you're doing anything, you ain't doing anything criminal yesterday, did you? Did you do anything today?
No.
So you used to be, it may have been a historical,
former career.
There you go, man. There you go.
But the thing is, you know, like I didn't become a tattoo artist until I turned 27. You know, so it was like a whole gap. I'm 39 now, but it was like a whole gap from age 27 when I was released and I started tattooing on the streets. From that time before, it was like I was just lost. You know, I'm just thankful I got enough time to sit back and really analyze myself. And that's what it all boiled down to. A lot of people don't have time to even realize what they want to do. Like
have time or take time.
I'm gonna say half of the time because a lot of people know what they want to do in life. Your gift is whatever you can do all day if nobody stopped you.
Right. But having time and taking time is two different
But
things.
you have to make time.
That's right. And so you have time and you made time.
The only reason I had time was because I was incarcerated. If it wasn't for that, I would have still been out there doing what I was doing.
Oh, that's real. I can appreciate that. And Mr. Harold, I didn't want to say something.
Yeah, I want to say something. What you did is you realized you had a bigger wealth. You were worth more than the time you spent incarcerated. You sat down and took a minute and said, let me look at myself. Let me see where I'm going. Let me see what I really want to be. Do I want to be a criminal? Do I want people to come visit me on Sunday and say, oh boy, you're looking good. They taking care of you. You're taking care of yourself in here. No, you wanted something more than that. And you got with someone, I would venture to say, who saw that in you and said, hold on, let's look at this. I'm not going to give you any finances right now, but I want to see where you want to go with this.
Well, it sounded like to me he had a spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
As a result of whatever put him in that position to want that spiritual awakening, and sometimes that spiritual awakening happened to be incarcerated, then so be it. Wherever it is that it was met.
Because it's the solitude. And you know, like everything around it, you know, society is set up like this. You wake up, you go to work, get the kids ready for school, then you go to work. You get off from work, you get the kids and you get them ready for bed, and then you don't really have time to focus on what you wanted to do. Like I know people that do hair. They do everybody hair in the hood, but it's like they don't want to leave their job because they don't feel that can pay enough, you know, to sustain them like the job could. Like I never had a 9-to-5. I went to 6th grade in school. I never seen the inside of a high school. I've been locked up my whole life. You know, I caught juvenile life for attempted murder. I came home. I've been in and out of the system my whole life. It really took, you know, something to happen for me to really get the mindset because, you know, in order to make it out of Baltimore, your mind has to be bigger than Baltimore. Because if your mindset is just here, what the fuck is it?
So how do you make a mindset bigger than Baltimore?
It's like
if you've never been outside of Baltimore.
Because you
said this morning, I listened to you very carefully this morning. What did you say that was profound to me? You said, just in half capacity. You know what you said? What? You said, I do a lot of reading.
I do.
With a 6th grade education, right? Yeah. That's what you told me now. I didn't know you had a 6th grade education.
Exactly.
As far as I'm concerned, you went to school for botany or
I taught myself during a 15-year time incarcerated. I taught myself anatomy, color theory, architecture. I even taught myself anatomy from Latin terms like muscles like the supinator longus, which supinates your pronator radialis, what pronates it, like the range of movement, and like this is everything I've taught myself. No medical.
That's profound. So let me ask you something. Why should I have to send you to Harvard to get a paper from Harvard to give you credibility and to say that you're okay? When you have done it, you know what I'm saying?
So, it's like this,
so I can sit here and write a piece of paper. Here you go. Here's your degree.
That is the mind.
Do anything you put your
mind. But that's what people. That's what society. That's what mainstream says.
Exactly.
In order to make sure that to stamp him okay,
incredible.
He got to be loved.
You got to have
madness, man.
That says that is graduated.
That is madness.
Yeah. So just to give them credit.
But think about this: the whole time. They're telling you you need this. What do? They put an obstacle in the way.
How about this? You go to school for that, and then you come home and you get out of school in debt because you can't find a job for what you went to school for. So it's like they set you up automatically.
That's a democratic thing.
You know, my whole life, I come from a family of educators. My grandmother, my aunt, my uncles. If you go over to Morgan right now, you see a whole list of people that are related to me that have done things at these institutions. Not only Morgan, but there are other institutions. Historically Black universities.
I love where he was at a word institution. Because he was in a learning institution as well, is what he just said, right?
Correctional.
What is it? Let's look at what an institution is.
Definitely is a learner.
Let's look at what an institution is. The church is an institution.
Of course.
Where we're sitting right now is an institution. Because what are they doing here? They're teaching people how to do something. And my parents and that entourage that I came from pushed on me education. One of the things my mother used to instill, she said, you can go any place you want to from a book.
You know what you really just said? You know what you really just said? That we as a people have to turn our parents for our children into educators. We don't need the formality of it because, you know,
we've been
my mother
educators
never
all
went to
our
college.
lives.
That's right. My mother never went to college.
Can I say something?
Sure, man.
When you said about the book, I like that because y'all ever wonder why it's more in the book version? Like if you read a book and then they come up with a movie in it, you ever wonder why it's more in the book?
You mean that there's a shorter version in the movie?
Because when you're watching it in a movie form, it's telling you the vision. You know, if we read the same book, based on your knowledge of what you know, you might get a different vision from what you're reading. Like if it describes an urban scene, you're going to vision the urban scene based on your knowledge of what an urban scene is. My urban scene that I may envision may be based on what you dig. So what the television does is tells you how to see things. Like I'm gonna use Training Day for example. They made you look at Denzel like he was the character. But say they would have gave you a backstory and he would have had more of a reason, and then you'd have been like, oh.
So you mean the detail.
The
reasons why.
Exactly. So that's why I was saying, like, when you read a book, well, actually television replaces something in your mind, your imagination. That's where manifestation comes from. It starts from imagination.
Let me give you an example. I know exactly what you're saying. The time restraints on television. How much news do you get on a 30-minute newscast?
4 minutes. I don't
know. You actually get 22 minutes.
You get sound bite.
Out of it.
Not on BlackUSA.News you don't, because you get an hour of consistent, like on your show this morning with Donnie, we got 50, or actually Donnie was on there for 42, 52 minutes, right? It was less than an hour this morning. But the point of it is we don't have any, probably makes sense to monetize it, to have a bit of commercialization, but you get the full story and the full depth and breadth of what it is that you had to offer today, walking the streets of Baltimore, pointing things out, know what will be right back. You know, you gave it in the raw and the real. And as far as I'm concerned, I said, dang, man, this guy must have a BS in botany sciences or something like that. And now you're sitting here telling us you had a 6th grade education. So what you going to do? Where you going to go?
What is education?
Yeah, well, I mean, but in terms of more than that, here he is where he is, right? So we're meeting him where he is, right? And so now he realizes, because of our view, that the sky's the limit. So what does that mean? Where do you go from here?
Let's not leave the sister out back here. Come on.
She is a bull, man. She knows how to bull her way in here.
But this is I want him to hit his focus.
That's right. Elbow me. Quandra is fine, man. She's fine.
I'm listening. But okay, but still, like you said, so for me, education is my in the arenas in which I work. Most of the dynamics of leadership are white. You have to double up. You have to, I, as a Black woman, I have to work 10 times more, 20 times more, go to school, and I'm pursuing my PhD, okay? And right, so in organizational management and leadership development, which is a hard curriculum. However, it means, my question is this: why is it that we do have to work so hard?
I just got off the golf course.
Now, as far as working hard, what do you mean? Do you mean us as a whole in the workforce? Because I can offer a simple explanation on why we work so hard and how to eliminate that. Why we work so hard is because people are working to put food on the table. The whole time, the food that they tell us is the food is not really the food. The food is actually outside, but they tell us they're weeds so we can patronize their markets. Imagine if everybody realized that the food that they're working to put on the table was already outside. No landlords to evict you, no constables to evict you, no police to lock nobody up, no hospitals because nobody's getting sick. It's like that collapses the whole system
until you educate us.
Exactly.
You are educator.
This is exactly why I'm saying I have a way to fix that. Because you gotta think, they've been talking about this food shortage for a few months now. Now, the plan with them doing this whole food shortage thing is they think people are going to panic when they can't feed their families and run around doing all type of stuff to each other so they can enact martial law due to civil unrest. It's 3 ways that martial law can get enacted. That's if a war kicks off in this country, that's a civil unrest, or a natural disaster. So that's the 3 ways. So when the food shortage, that's what they're
Donald
playing.
Trump needs them.
I was listening to a brother this morning, and a guy named Doc Cheatham. Right? Hopefully, Doc, you're watching that, buddy.
Hi, Doc.
Doc, what's up, Doc? Doc talked about that Baltimore had 25% of Baltimore was food desert. And then I listened to you today, and I said, that ain't necessarily true unless we want to give them at Food Lion or Giant or Safeway money when this brother is telling me all I got to do is step out my door and I can eat.
And it's right.
You know what you said?
But they don't want us to know that. Like,
well, when we repeating that stuff ourselves on platforms and media, because he was on Fox saying that. I don't know how my TV got to Fox. It just happened to be there, right? He was on Fox saying that. But he can't come on Fox saying that now with you as an option, because now we have the ability on our own media to give options, viable options, to say that we are a 25% food desert. But here is a viable option for you to eat. And you tell us, good brother, how to do that on this media channel. You know what I'm saying?
Well, one of the things is that as a grower, so when you said something about how seeds, when you sell seeds, they can contaminate. You can get contamination with seeds.
okay.
However, if you are a grower, see, this is where I have if African American growers were joined together, I don't have to put seeds in the ground once I put my cabbage in there or my yams, because they come back up. My herbs, I don't have to reseed them anymore because they come back up.
Okay.
My sunflowers, the seeds drop back into the ground.
Yeah,
All I'm doing is turning it up
themselves
and waiting for whatever. Like right now, you can go. I met a woman that was my grandmother's friend. She grew everything. I mean, like when you're talking about cucumbers, you can actually de-seed, take the seeds out, dry them, and grow them again.
Yeah,
just like tomatoes. Right now, tomatoes growing in my kitchen. Hot peppers, dill, growing in my bathroom. You understand what I'm saying? So it's little things, and then you can get the seeds from outside the tomatoes, inside tomatoes.
Can I ask you a question? Both of you, right?
Okay.
I was looking at a show on Saturday of a white guy in the state of Maryland with 150-acre farm growing cannabis, making $50-60 million a year. And I'm sitting here listening to you all talking about growing tomatoes and don't buy cucumbers and go and pick dandelions, and you saying collaborate. Why aren't we collaborating on a weed growing farm? You said you were a career criminal, right?
Yes.
And maybe you sold a bag of weed a long time ago, and they just knocked us out the game, right?
Mm-hmm. We're coming out and see, you know,
and then you're gonna vote yes for legalization of
whatever the
marijuana, so
government
that they
can
can.
tax is illegal. That's what people have to understand.
Yeah, because
Soon
that's
as
why they
find
want
out
to
a
do
way
it.
to get their
They want to get the money.
when-
It's all about the money.
Yeah.
We talking about growing tomatoes, and we should be talking about
But my
growing
thing is
weed.
this.
I don't have a problem being a grower. I want to be a grower.
But my thing is this. We know about the tomatoes and the vegetables. That's what I'm saying. Anything we have to buy is suspect to me. You know, even check us out. Starch. Starch.
You didn't buy weed?
Starch is an ingredient to bond two unnatural ingredients that wouldn't bond in nature. So think about that. Starch. So anything with starch in it was genetically modified. Like, check this out. Even marijuana, weaponized. Monsanto created the first genetic strand of marijuana a couple years ago. That's why the push started happening, you know, for them to, everybody smoke this, that, and the third. But check this out. Monsanto wound up going under for poisoning our food. You know, when you eat an apple, that thick white, when you scrape it off, Monsanto was responsible for all our fruits and vegetables. So they went under. All to be bought by Bayer, aspirin company. You know, so the genetic strain of marijuana is still out there. They've never allowed us and, you know, people to sell drugs.
And that lets us know how this system works against us. When they locked you up, right? They locked you up. You say you identified yourself. I just got
locked up for weed a couple years ago.
Yeah, exactly. So they called you a criminal, right? You call yourself a criminal, self-described. I don't call you that way. I call you
a former career.
Yeah, but the point of it is you, with all that you know about the earth and dirt, as with Condra, and they gave this white guy from Denver to Baltimore. Come to Baltimore from Denver, 150 acres to grow marijuana. Why didn't give you that shot? It lets you know what kind of system we dealing with, man.
Let me interject.
We gonna hope it gets better.
Let me interject something, and Donnie can verify this. I work with a group of people here in Baltimore City, and what happened? We were going down there lobbying in Annapolis for Black folks to be able to get a piece of that action when it became obvious that they were gonna let people grow marijuana.
How did it go?
Down the street, a couple people sold out to the establishment. Then they found out that one of the doctors that was pushing the bill to legalize it.
Dan Moore. I know you're talking about. Did I call his name out?
You called
Sure, I called his
Is
name.
that why they passed the law? If you
Was up to his elbows.
That's right. That's right.
So now you got pound of weed in your house and nowhere to take it. Okay. I see what they're doing.
This is the thing that I don't understand, because I do have a friend who doesn't live in the state of Maryland, lives in Colorado, and she's a grower. But the marijuana that is actually sold, that's genetically modified, right?
Exactly.
Because marijuana is temperamental. You have to have specific temperatures, just a lot of different things.
Unless it's just homegrown.
Yeah, right. So
You should have seen this guy's farm.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I saw
Did you see the? Did you?
It was unbelievable.
Condra, you guys can't comprehend how they scientific to bring down 50, 60 million, and now all of a sudden with question B or on the ballot tomorrow for election day to say yes to legalization of recreational marijuana. What do you think that does? It increases the base of potential customers for him.
Yeah.
And you don't get, well, what
But
share
my thing
you
is,
get?
they outlawed marijuana in the 1900s because of all of the health benefits it had. Now, my thing is,
I smoked enough marijuana as a teenager and a soldier in the United States Army. If that's true, I'll live to be 1 million.
like now they're weaponizing.
Well, you know, they're
it's
weaponizing.
definitely
What they're doing is that they're monetizing it, and they left us out the game.
that.
Because if they really cared, particularly when you look at the Democratic Party, and believe me, Democratic, Republican, Independent, we always have our allegiance to Democrats, right?
Ain't they like the same people though? It's just different
For
ways of
real,
approaching the plan.
it's different ways of tricking us, right?
Yeah, of
different ways
course.
of tricking us. So if they really wanted to level the playing field, they would have said, so you got Biden that came into office and he wiped out all the records of people that were convicted and incarcerated for selling marijuana and crack cocaine, etc. Obama did the same thing. But if they really wanted to level the playing field, they would say, hey, when we legalize this thing, give you a store in the hood to sell it, right?
Yeah.
Hire a couple of your boys, let you grow it if you got to
But
go to school. But they don't do that. What
But
do they
that's
do?
only if we want to go the route of involving ourselves in the system to uphold their system. Like me personally, I care not.
But that's where the money is.
It's not about money all the time, especially knowing what they're doing to the marijuana. I wouldn't really want no parts in that, you know, because
It's all about the money, man. It's always about the money.
Not for me. It's
Well, I hear you. Maybe that's
like
a
me,
philosophy.
that's like me telling, giving information about the herbs and telling people, like, I gave out the cure for diabetes early, like, and the cure for HIV on live like this.
You told us
I know, but check this out. It's not about the money for me, because if that's the case, I would have spoke on it and then left my Cash App and told people subscribe to a page.
Well, that's real. For you, it ain't about the money, because that's your philosophy for a minute. Hopefully you'll change. But for the pharmaceuticals, man, they'll bury you because they don't want you telling that story.
That's exactly what I'm.
They want people to buy what they sell.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's about the money for them.
That's right.
I'm telling you that it's not about the money for
I understand
me.
that.
I know it's about the money for them, but the thing is, I've been subjected to consequences my whole life that it's not even a consequence anymore. So I'm not worried about that. They've been killing us for years for things we speak about, been silencing us for years. So it's like, what point do we get past that and just say, man, we want to speak up?
Well, this has been real. I'm going to let someone else sit in this seat, because as I said, this is remarkable that 5 of us are sitting here having a conversation, and here comes a 6th person. So I'm going to give up my seat for this inaugural day, man.
Well, the one thing I would like to say is this: food is not grown in the same way that food used to be grown. If you're not growing it yourself, you've got a lot of preservatives, you've got a lot of artificial. Because if you look at it, there was a documentary a couple weeks ago where they were talking about meat, how meat doesn't look the same way that it used to, because they're pumping chickens with hormones to the point that they can't even hold their body weight. Hi.
Come on in there.
I got a question. I got a question. Just to speak on what you said further, it all still goes back to what we need to be eating, you know, because whatever food issue we're dealing with, however many recalls, they just contaminated, I think, 100,000 pounds of Domino sugar. Now they're hitting close to home. Black people love sugar. We put it on everything, you know, so the way around that is just to start, you know, researching and finding substitutes so we can eat better. So we don't have to worry about, you know, what they doing to the chicken. Because like I said, it's over 100 plants outside that's edible and medicinally, just don't tell us about it. So for us to worry about their food in any capacity is just like, it's not even a problem.
So what I usually would say is that we need to educate our children.
Okay.
One, on how to grow, grow foods, grow herbs, because
Definitely.
What I learned when I was a kid, when we would go to the store, everything that was on the shelf was in my grandmother's garden, was in my great-grandmother's garden. So when you look at the star anise, which is what, $6 a bottle for like barely an ounce, not even an ounce, $6. We were, you know, growing it, drying it. You know what I mean? And she was giving it away in bags, like, here you go. So one of the things about education for me, when I go in, like, I have a girlfriend who grows apples, right? When I go to the store, the preservatives that they put on, that thick film and that wax that they put on, most people don't even wash it off before they eat it.
Yeah, that's what Monsanto was responsible for, that type of stuff. It was actually cancer causing. It was cancer causing, that was a whole problem. That's why people was burning their Monsanto fields worldwide. They was just burning them down. But, they wind up going under Bayer, aspirin company.
Well,
So
yeah,
it's like,
pharmaceutical.
So look, let's get your contact information.
okay.
You let them know how to reach you.
You can reach me at Derrick Rhodes, DerrickRhodes on Instagram or Facebook. That's it.
Okay. Let's find out. You want to say hello? This is our debut, 4 o'clock news. Say hello. Tell them why you watch it.
Let me scoot out the way.
Hi, my name is Elaine Fordham, and I watch Donnie Glover all the time, whenever I can. I saw the program this morning. I was really impressed with the gentleman. So I decided that I would come by, and just visit, because I really appreciate the information. It was very powerful. And all of the ailments that we have in our body, we need something other than what they're feeding us. So I really appreciate it. And I definitely would like to stay in contact with you because I wish I would know about you a year and a half ago. My mother died of stage 4 breast cancer, and that's the thing that I thought about when I heard you say all that stuff. It triggered something. I was like, wow, if I was informed, but I did try to do some study, but unfortunately, I wasn't too knowledgeable of it. You know what I mean? So
look,
she did the chemo, the radiation, and all of that. And
this is
still
a skill
passed.
we all wish we would have knew. We all lost people. I lost my mother. I wish I would have knew what I knew now. I would have held with her. I lost my aunt 4 years later, which is her sister. Like that, it hits home. Everybody. There's people who's gonna lose people tonight that don't see this show.
So how about this? One of the things you talked about was some solutions, for us to heal. So get us going. Our first cocktail.
All right, cool. As far as to start detoxing, I recommend everybody start with a dandelion. Do as much research on it as you can as possible. Like I said, it's a blood purifier. It actually detoxifies the pineal gland. From the fluoride in the water, it's only one place the fluoride accumulates, and that's in the pineal gland. And people of color, unfortunately, are the only ones that have an active pineal gland. Some more knowledge that a lot of y'all didn't know. You can make a tea out of damn near every plant you find. How you make a tea out of it?
Okay, like for people with diabetes.
Diabetes. I'm gonna just say
let's
this:
kill diabetes.
Fig leaf tea and chicory root. 90 days, you will not have diabetes, and I'm saying that live on here. Look it up. Chicory root. It's a blue flower. It come on a stem. You gotta dig up the root. It's a long root. You can dry that out after you wash it off for a couple of days or whatever, and then grind it up. And then once you grind it up, a mortar and pestle, make a powder out of it. Take a spoon of that every day, probably twice a day, but for 90 days with some fig leaf tea. I recommend you pick it yourself. In 90 days, it'll take down your levels of insulin that you need, and you really won't be no signs of it. It takes down inflammation too.
What's the opposite of insulin?
Inulin. It's really good for diabetics due to the chemical inulin. It takes down your need for insulin. So when they pair it, it's like, okay, and it lowers your blood sugar, fig leaf tea. So
okay,
all this works together.
Okay, you smart. We got alcoholism.
Okay.
I didn't ask you about that. This is hot off the press.
I know things that detoxify the liver also. Actually, plantain is a good liver detoxifier.
The first weed you showed me.
Yeah.
I know what it looked like. I know what a plantain is on my field, man.
But this is the best thing.
That's the only one I know. But I know what it looks like. Damn near
every weed that you look up has anti-inflammatory properties, heavy, especially the evergreens. Pine trees, you could go pluck about 7 pine needles off a tree, stick them in a cup and then pour some boiling water on it. Any throat issues, respiratory issues, that heals it. You know, like I said, everything is supposed to have some kind of medicinal value to it. You know, not the nutritional like they put, medicinal. So if I eat this right here, I want it to do something.
What about
like
high blood pressure?
High blood pressure, pine needle tea, fig leaf tea, dandelions. This every plant or weed does a host of things.
Memory loss.
All people have to do
Memory loss.
Memory loss. You can take memory loss. I'll have to get to that because I don't have a memory. I don't have a bad memory. So I'll have to look into that. I never looked up.
I appreciate that. It's okay to say I don't know.
Right.
Yeah,
Right now.
I don't want to throw nobody for a loop.
Right. Let's wrap it up.
All right, so for all who views Black USA News, I hope that you will check out Chad and Laquita tonight at 7 o'clock, and then Frontline at 5 o'clock with Yolanda and Robero Report. And then Wednesday night, I have Political Cipher. We've got some wonderful news out here talking about what we did about the bid. And then
we'll vote tomorrow.
We go out and we vote tomorrow. So it is imperative that you vote. If you do not show up, I do not want to hear you complain. If you do not put the first African-American governor in this place today, and you allow a Republican who is sold and is bought by Trump, I don't want to hear your noise.
What about Georgia?
Oh, good gracious. Who kept, we need to vote. We need to vote. Vote needs to get out. Do not allow a Black woman who showed us how to join together, get ourselves together, make it so that people who are on pretrial, who can vote, all of these different indemnities that we are, and we do not want to let Stacey down. So go out there and you vote hard, vote with intent. Do not sit here and say, I'm Black and I'm proud, and you don't vote. And on that note, stay Black and stay proud.
She's crying.
On this note, woo, okay, it has to take Donnie over.
Great job. Okay.